All right. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of RecTech Live. I'm Chris Russell, your host, as always, on a lovely autumn day outside. It's sunny. The leaves are changing here in the Northeast, and it's time to do some e-learning here for you recruiters out there. So looking forward to today's show. How to take your rejected candidates and turn them into allies for your company, your employer brand. And we'll go over some tips on how to do that and talk to you about why you should care and give you some tactical takeaways on how to do just that. So let's get started by seeing who's on the line here. So shout outs, Heather Wild. Hey, Heather. Glad you could join us. Jim Stroud's here. What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you again. Jennifer, David Fantel, and Patrick are also here. So, and Brian Douglas just joined. Hey, Brian, how's it going? All right, just a quick couple show notes before we get rolling. Here's the link to the slides, by the way. Let me put this in the chat. So coming up, I got 3 more shows in the next 4 or 5 weeks, I think. Let's see here. So next week, October 31st, I'll be talking with the CEO of a company called Talview, and we'll be going over time to hire as a North Star metric, how to build a fast and friendly hiring process candidates love. So we'll talk to him about that, get you some takeaways from that. On November 14th, I'll be talking with Curious Thing. So if you follow the podcast, you probably heard me speak about them. They're an Australian-based AI digital interviewing tool that's pretty cool. And I asked them to come on and do a demo for the audience. We'll talk to Zubin Fitter, their head of partnerships, and just get his take on the product itself and where they're going with it. As part of this series, I want to show you interesting technology, and this is definitely fits that bucket as far as interesting tech and something I think is going to just gain momentum as the next year or two progress. So that'll be on November 14th. That'll be a 4 o'clock show, 4 o'clock Eastern, because they're in Australia, and it's 8 o'clock a.m. following day for them there. And then November 21st is not on my landing page yet, but it will be shortly. I'll be talking with Abby Cheeseman from Skill Scout, the employer branding video company, and she'll be going over DIY job videos for employers. So that'll be on November 21st, I believe at 1 p.m. On your dial. Okay. So let's see here. Let me get my screen sharing going. Got a few more attendees here. Alice is here. Hey, Alice. And Lee is also joined. So hello, Lee. Thanks for joining us today. Again, the replay will be available immediate following, and I'll throw it up on YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, let me share my screen here. All right. Hopefully you can all see that. Okay. Hold your questions to the end. I can't see your the chat room at this point. But let's get rolling here. All right, so this one's presented by Rejobify. Rejobify is a product of RecTech Media, and I will explain kind of what that does at the end. But let's go through some of the slides so far. If this is your first time here, just a little bit about RecTech Media. Our mission is kind of to inform the modern recruiter. We do that through these webcasts, podcasts, ebooks, of course, recruitingheadlines.com, and a bunch more tools out there, newsletters, etc. So head over to rectechmedia.com, follow us across the socials, and we will make you more informed recruiters as we go along here. Today, we're going to talk about why you should care about rejection. I'll give you some reasons around that, something that most companies don't give let's say, they don't give 2 cents about, but they should. I got 5 tips on how to make them an ally during your rejection process. And then we'll quickly go through Rejobify and what that does here. So we'll probably go for about a half hour or so. It won't be too long today. We'll get you back to your recruiting hires there. All right, let's jump in here. So candidates, they can still impact your company even after being rejected. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about as they go along here, right? They send emails. I hear from people all the time, hey, candidates are complaining back to me over email, or they may go onto a Glassdoor and leave a negative review and rant about you in terms of why you didn't hire them, right? But I think good recruiters understand that long-term impact that these candidates have on their company, and they handle rejection thoughtfully. They actually put some effort and thought into this, and that's really all you have to do as far as being having a good rejection process overall, is putting some effort in and doing it thoughtfully, and the candidates will then see that on their end and as we go forward here, right? There's a great quote here from a guy at Google, and if Google cares about rejection, I think every company should overall. So this is Jeff Moore. He says, if your rejection process makes a good impression, it's more likely that candidates and their network will stay connected with your brand, both as future job applicants and, depending on your business, even customers, right? And that makes a lot of sense, really, especially if you're actually a B2C business and you do, hire your customers like around that, right? You have to, the way you treat them as a candidate also can reflect on your business as a whole overall, and that's really important to think about when you're doing your hiring processes overall. So, good quote there from the guy at Google. All right, so let's move into tips here, and the first one centers around timing overall. So these are kind of my guidelines, and I think if you ask the average expert recruiters out there, they'll generally agree with these overall. You want to tell them quickly but thoughtfully overall. So that means 24 to 48 hours after the last interview. And if you're just doing mass rejections, I like to see this go out within a week or so. 7 days would be kind of my maximum there, right? And the reason being is that that nearness, that time that goes by, is a wait and see game for the job seeker. A lot of times they will essentially stop what they're doing and wait to hear back from you before they actually go out and continue their job search, right? A lot of job seekers do that. So if you are not rejecting them in a timely manner, you're essentially holding out their job search process. Now, that's not your fault essentially, but they should be always job hunting. But let's face it, a lot of them will kind of they'll slow down things after they apply to your company, thinking that they might have a shot. But if they don't, you need to tell them quickly. You need to get it out there and let them move on. That's the important thing to regarding this particular piece of advice. Definitely an email is good for pretty much every candidate except the ones I think you kind of interview in person overall. So you want to call them versus an email. Or maybe even do a call first and then follow up with an email, just kind of reiterating what happened, why they didn't make the cut, and go from there overall. You may even end up hiring that person again at someday. So you want to make sure that experience, particularly for the shortlisted candidates, is something that you take time and care with, and you respect their time as well, right? That's what, respecting their time is a big part of this, I think, right? So if you send the, rejection email in a timely manner, even if it's just a mass rejected one, you're showing them that you respect their time overall, and you're, they have a long job ahead probably. So you want to let them move on as quickly and fast as possible overall. So some good rule of thumb here as far as time frames go overall. Let's see here. I'll just read a quick note here about Virgin Media found that 18% of their rejected job candidates were also customers, and that poor candidate experiences caused 7,400 of those candidates to churn, costing the company about $6 million in lost revenue. So that's an example of a B2C company where a poor candidate experience affected their actual sales overall. Millions of dollars lost, they say, because of the candidate experience. And that's something that you can take throughout the entire hiring process itself, but something to keep aware of. I think good recruiters deliver the bad news politely and with respect. They offer feedback and resources to help the rejected candidate improve their skill set. And we'll talk about that as one of the tips as well. Put yourself in the candidate's shoes here, right? What would you want to know if you applied to a job and didn't get it overall? I think if you treat them with a level of consideration and humanity, you'll turn candidates into brand allies for sure overall. All right, number 2 here is something that I think a lot of recruiters struggle with, giving honest, non-negotiable feedback. But if you think about it, a rejection is valuable to a candidate if it offers clear feedback on their skills overall. I think a lot of candidates, you'd be surprised at on how honest feedback could work for them overall. Again, particularly for your shortlisted candidates, even the phone interviews didn't make the cut maybe. Give them something they can take back with to help them improve their skills overall. I'll put an example out there of Delta Airlines, who I wrote about this recently on the Rejobify blog. They for their flight attendant candidates, they do an assessment of that candidate during the apply process. And what comes out of that is a talent scorecard, essentially, that they use to help the recruiters move candidates forward. But they give that to the candidates that they don't hire as well. And that's an example of where providing the candidate feedback on their skill sets and show them where they lack certain skills, right, where they can improve on. And so that's something that you could think about doing. If you don't want to say that verbally, you could use an assessment platform results to send that back overall. And that's what Delta does. And I think that's a pretty good thing to do, right? So they're at least giving the candidates something to take back, some kind of feedback that they can take away and then help improve upon. And then hopefully later on, maybe apply again and or go out and learn those skills or improve on the skills and become a better person at their prospective profession, whatever it might be. Think about giving more feedback as far as how they can improve their skill set in order to get a job like that you're turning them down for overall. Obviously, you can't do that for every candidate out there. And when it comes to the mass rejection ones, just tell them that you found other candidates that essentially fit the bill better overall. A good quote would be, we found other candidates that have a bit more experience that we think are a better fit for our role, right? That's a good phrase to use overall. And I'd be curious if you guys out there have any good quotes you use in your rejection emails as well, but throw them in the chat there. Let's see here. All right, let's move on to number 3. Help candidates with their job search. This one's a kind of near and dear to my heart here. And I think they'll thank you for it overall. So I'll point to a company like Johnson & Johnson, who partnered with the Muse to offer different pieces of advice throughout the hiring process at J&J, whether it's interview advice or improving your resume advice, that kind of stuff. They actually give candidates that information as they go along in the hiring process at J&J, right? So just imagine what that does to a candidate when they're looking at that. They're seeing this come in. If it's from an automated email, they might say, "Hey, here's 3 tips on how to prepare for your interview at J&J going forward, right?" Or here's some advice on crafting a resume that stands out with our candidates, right? Overall, right? If you help the candidates with their own job search, with making them better job seekers, they're going to thank you for that. And even though you can't hire them, they're going to leave that experience with thinking that this company cares about me enough to give me that advice overall. So I really like this as a tactic overall. And you can do this. You can simply link out to an article. You could write your own advice overall. But go out there and provide some feedback around there in terms of helping them become a better job seeker. Link out to your job listings, telling them to apply again after they improve their skills or whatever. But don't just leave them with an empty email that says, "Hey, we can't hire you. No thanks. See you later." You want to give something in there. You want to give something of value to the seeker overall, and that's the point of this tip here. So find some good links to link out to. Write your own advice. Just give them something to take away that will extend their search and make them better job seekers overall. That's the point here of number 3. Number 4, ask candidates about their experience. So I'm talking really about candidate surveys here. Go out and email every candidate who applied and ask them what that experience was like. You're going to get valuable feedback from them to help you improve your overall hiring process itself, right? And this is something it's easy to do. It's essentially free. You can use Google Forms to collect the data. You don't have to pay for anything, and you can use your own email system to send it out. You can even use the ATS, email functionality there. So think about maybe putting a survey link in your ATS workflow with a link out to a survey page that you send to all your candidates every month as you reject and hire them overall. I think it's going to be great data for you to have. And if you just kind of build it into that process of the ATS, I mean, that's easy and simple to do. It doesn't have to be a long survey, 5 to 10 questions. How was the apply experience? How were you treated throughout the interview process? Do you feel we could improve on anything? Those types of questions, right? You want to get that feedback overall. It's only going to make you better recruiters, better employers. It's only going to improve your reputation in the market, which again goes towards your employer brand overall. All right, and make sure you personalize your rejection emails. You want to put the person's first name in there. You want to talk about what position you rejected them for. Those are a couple of variables that usually most ATSs have in their email templates you can input. So make sure it's personalized to the candidate's name, and don't just send a generic letter without kind of an opener, without acknowledging the person's name overall. I think that helps helps a little bit as far as the overall appearance and your reputation going through this. All right. And number 5, which is really the last one, and this is really more for B2C companies, but turn candidates into customers. Give them a coupon for their effort. Invite them back to your business to become a customer. So Virgin Atlantic is a company that is kind of famous for this story. I don't remember where I saw it. It was a number of years ago where they actually sent out a rejection email to their candidate base. And it might have been for their flight attendants too, if I'm not mistaken. But they offer flight vouchers for X amount of dollars off a flight on Virgin Atlantic. And that particular effort turned into something like $8 or $9 million in revenue for them overall. And so that's a great example of turning your candidates into customers for a B2C business like this. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm sure marketing will love it. In fact, one of the customers on Rejobify, it's an eye care center out in the Midwest, also put a coupon code to save. I think it was 50% off eyeglasses at their eye care centers that they run overall. So in addition to what Rejobify gives them, they also put that in there as well. And so they work with their marketing department to actually do that. And so they're giving a ton of stuff back to candidates with a strategy like that overall. So again, simple to do. Go ask your marketing department to create something like this, and it just makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, hey, you're rejecting them, but you're giving them something back again here to take away, and it shows that you value their time, you value them as an applicant overall, and it's only going to just help you help grow your grow your employer brand overall. Yeah. By the way, going back to this one here, ask candidates about experience. You could also maybe do this for your shortlisted candidates who had a good experience to go and write a review on Glassdoor as well. So it's another chance there possibly to get a nice positive Glassdoor review if they had a good experience, right? Something to think about as well. You could also do. One recruiter I read about also will tell them to go to their LinkedIn profile, and he says, if you see anybody you want to get connected to, let me know. I will introduce you to them and see possibly if they have any openings overall. So referring candidates to other recruiters maybe is a good idea as well. I think this considering candidates like this, it's your chance to leave a good lasting impression, I say, right? It's your last chance to leave a good lasting impression, and it's free, really. None of this costs you a dime really to do. It just costs you effort and some thoughtfulness on your part overall. To be conscientious of this stuff. To me, it's an investment in your future talent pool. When each candidate has a valuable hiring experience, even if they're rejected, they're more likely to become an ally for your company and encourage their family and friends to do the same, really, right? They're going to spread the word that this company cares overall. Just a quick side note, I remember when I was job hunting once, I remember, this is not a rejecting thing, but it's for my phone interview. They actually did a pre-phone interview, and they actually had a recruiter call me and just kind of go over what's going to happen in the process. They actually called me to explain what's going to happen in the hiring process from here. They told me who's going to be talking with, what questions to expect. It was like maybe a 10-minute call, really, but I was impressed. I think the company was Compass, a real estate company in New York. I was impressed enough that that they cared even to prep me for the phone screen, which is usually the first interaction with a company in the hiring process. But again, all this goes back to leaving a good impression, and the rejection process is that last step in that process overall. So take that for what you will. I think by leaving a good last impression, you do four things really. You put some goodwill back into your employer brand. You prevent people from going to Glassdoor and ranting about that process, right? Or maybe even sending that email. Hey, why didn't you hire me? It provides a positive candidate experience. And lastly, it differentiates you in the market overall from the other competitors. And in today's environment, you need every advantage you can get as an employer in terms of standing out and being different from your competition overall. So those are the 5 ways. I'll kind of sum it up at the end as well, but let me talk to you quickly about Rejobify. It's not really a full demo, but just a couple things on what this does. This is a service I created myself. Again, going back to my time as a corporate recruiter, I've always long felt that the rejection email needs a little bit of work on our part, and came up with a way to actually do that. It helps the job seeker and gives the employer kind of peace of mind, and helps them improve their reputation in the market overall. So Rejobify is a better way to reject candidates, and it's built on a lot of the principles that I talked about in those tips, those 5 tips overall. The mission of it is to help those you cannot hire. I think it's a noble cause. I think it says if you care about, you should care about all your applicants, not just the ones you hire, and that will go a long way towards making you an employer of choice overall. So essentially what Rejobify is, these are a couple examples. These are landing pages that we create. On the left here is Logicalis. They're a tech company. And on the right is one from Burnco. They are a kind of construction company out of Canada overall, kind of blue collar stuff. So what this is we create landing pages, and they send these out, links to these in their existing email rejection templates from their existing ATS overall. So there's really no integration here. We create these landing pages, and you send candidates here via a link. And I'll show you more about that in a second. But these are, in these landing pages, we have a bunch of resources for the seeker to take away and continue their job search to help build their skill set going forward overall. The core part of that is this email course here. It is a 7-day email course written by myself and several other career coaches that I know and trust. People like Hannah Morgan, who's the career Sherpa, Lisa Rangel, who runs Community Resumes, and Mark Anthony Dyson, the voice of job seekers. They all contributed to a day in this course. And it's all kinds of interview tips, resume tips, just job search hacks that will make them a better job seeker overall. So all they do is sign up with their email address and first name. That's all we collect. And for every day, 7 days in a row, each morning, they will receive a pretty lengthy email course around job search hacks. Again, all towards making them better job seekers overall. Depending on the company, we may even customize the page a little bit. So Logicalis is actually, they hire a lot of tech people. So we actually made it a more tech-focused page as far as resources go. Down here, you can see, this is not all of them, excuse me. But we have links out to 55 of the best IT sites, career lessons for people in technology, and a bunch of other tech-related links that we send them out to, all with the idea of just giving back to them, saying, hey, go read this stuff here. It's going to help your job search moving forward overall. For more of the standard blue-collar stuff, we have job alerts from JobGate. We have free downloads from Community Resumes, different interview cheat sheets, job search cheat sheets, LinkedIn profile cheat sheets that they can download for free as well. So all about just giving them access to other resources that help them move on and continue their job search overall. So these are a couple examples of what the landing pages look like. You get your logo in partnership with Rejobify. We kind of use the same color scheme in your brand, and you link out to them via your existing email template. So here's one from, this is the one we created for Logicalis. So what happened was they sent us their existing email template, which kind of looked like this. We inserted our offer into that. It says, thank you for your interest in Logicalis. We appreciate the time you've invested with us. We are fortunate to have many qualified candidates apply and interview for each of our positions. After reviewing the qualifications of each candidate, we've determined that the credentials of other candidates better fit our needs at this time. As a thank you for taking the time to apply, we've teamed up with Rejobify.com to help you boost your job search skills. Just click here to access free job hunting course and complimentary job search tools overall. So that's really all it is. We send that back to the company. They cut and paste back in their ATS, and you're done. That's the entire integration here. So it's the simplest thing you're ever going to do as far as implementing something like this. We kind of take care of the work for you as far as finding their resources and stuff like that to make them better seekers. And you simply just invite them to come to your page and sign up and get those from there. That's all. Very simple idea. It's not going to cure cancer, but it's something that I think that is a simple, easy thing to do that goes towards just building your reputation in the market overall. As part of it also, we actually will give you stats around that. So each month we'll send you this report. And this tells you how many visits the page had, how many clicks people have clicked on, how many subscribers to the email course. And we're looking at stats here from, I think this is iCare Partners, one of their Rejobify clients. Lots of activity happening every day as they send out their emails. They send out roughly, I think, 800 to 1,000 a month. And so, probably like 10 to 15% of the people are actually going to this page from those emails in terms of my guesstimation. But again, it's getting a lot of use, and these people here are the ones who are getting value out of it. And they're the ones who are not complaining about not being hired. They're actually using these resources to go out, find other work, and build their job search skills overall. So that you get once a month as well with the Rejobify service. So don't just reject your candidates, Rejobify them, or do something with them. Give them a coupon, write some advice for them to help them continue their search. We actually built a trucking version of this as well with a trucking recruiter. So if any trucker companies are on the call, we can do a trucking version of Rejobify with a 3-day course built around trucking job search as well. And we're open to doing more kind of custom courses as well for different industries too overall. So that is what the goal of Rejobify is, really to give back and change that experience into a positive one from a negative one. Pricing is pretty simple. If you send less than 2,000 rejection emails a month, which is kind of most small, mid-sized employers, $120 a month or $1,200 a year. If you send more than that, it's $180 a month or $1,800 a year. You can save if you lock in the one-year rate overall. So in summary, send the rejection within 24 to 48 hours. Remember to call the in-person interviews as well for that personalized touch. Give feedback, personalize the emails with a name and at least the job title as well. Get feedback as well, survey your candidates. Number 4, help them move on, give them some kind of resource or advice they can use to improve their skill set or move on in their search. Incentivize them if you want them to be a customer of your business, and rejobify them through rejobify.com. So that's the call for today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see if there's any questions. Appreciate you guys joining in today. And let's see here. So, okay, we got some comments here. Let's see here. I like to proactively drive referrals, not wait for them. I go out and source my hiring team's connections and send each one of them their first level connections. I think looking for the role. Pretty cool, Dodgy. Jim Stroud says likes the idea. I'm assuming you're talking about giving coupons. Yep, I gotcha. Ghosty candidates can be worse rejection fails. Brilliant idea, Chris. Thanks, Jim. I approve too. I think it's something that it's a no-brainer for me as a recruiter, just to give back like that. Are there people who partake in your Jobify service able to refer friends to it as well? Yeah, you could actually it's a link basically. So anybody can share the link and push it out there. I had one company who was interested in maybe using it even for kind of an outplacement thing for people they laid off, right? So kind of outplacement for the rejected or the laid off as well. That was an interesting request we had once from a prospect. So can it be using a sourcing tool in a way? Yeah, I guess so. We also do put on the landing page a link back to your company career site, in case they want to go back there and search. But yeah, it's a pretty cool service, I think. Something that, again, it's easy to do, it's cheap to do, and to me, it's a win-win for both you and the seeker overall. So those are my ideas for today. I put the slides up there on SlideShare if you want to go download those. And that's it, guys. So appreciate you coming. Next week, time to hire metric as a North Star metric with CEO of TalView. Stay tuned for that. And November 14th, the demo with Curious Thing. You guys are going to be pretty excited about that technology overall. So I appreciate you coming today. I guess that's it. And we'll see you next week here on RecTechLive.com. So thanks for tuning in and have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care.